Good afternoon, everyone, and we're back for the afternoon session of Scarborough Committee of Adjustment. My name is David Stinson. I'll be chairing today's adjustment hearing. In accordance with Sections 45, 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of zoning that apply to property matters, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, consent to sever property to create new lots. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee and Wendat, in addition to many more diverse First Nations, including Inuit, Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. Committee of Adjustment hearings are conducted by hybrid in-person and remote online formats. Some applications and participants will make their submissions in person and others will participate online using WebEx. Meetings online are streamed at the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Those who want to participate online and have registered in advance will be connected to their electronic device and will have the option of participating by video or audio. Will be automatically muted upon online entry into WebEx. When the item is called, they will be unmuted by the staff moderator. Please note, those doing this must mute the device until they are called upon to speak. Those participating by video will be temporarily labeled as panelists when their item is called. During this time, your camera will be enabled and you will be visible during your 5 minutes of speaking. And at all other times, your video will be disabled as a designated attendee. For in-person and online participants, the Committee of Adjustment will share presentations submitted within the written submission deadline. Those participating by WebEx and are not allowed to use share screen or other panelist controls and will be removed if found doing so. Receiving a copy of a decision of the committee. Those in person who want to receive a copy of this decisions by this committee must fill out a decision request card, and those participating online must submit a written request for decisions by email. Please include your name, address, email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions, and only the applicant, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, or specified persons in public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions. Hearing procedure. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda, except for consent deferral requests as determined by city staff. Making your submissions. Where an application is uncontested, the agent applicant may proceed with their presentation. When the committee does not require a presentation, the agent applicant can advise me, the chair, if they want to speak. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for their decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. Any presentation or materials you wish to submit to committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing, as members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When speaking to committee, identify yourself as the applicant or agent, your legal name, and your address, and make remarks only applicable to the details of the application. The applicant agent will proceed first and will make presentations to committee. The committee may decide to defer an application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of changes. Speakers in support or opposed to applications will be invited to the committee to speak. Committee members may ask questions of speakers after their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent can review only issues raised by speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will then be taken into committee for a decision, where only the committee members can speak. Are there any declarations of interest by panel or staff regarding agenda items? and everybody has indicated no, there are not. Are there any files to be closed?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no files to be closed or withdrawn this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, have you received any requests for deferrals?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no deferral requests for this afternoon's agenda.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. So we're going to go to item 16, 1891 Eglinton Avenue East, Toronto. The consent requested, consent to sever the property into 2 lots, cross-reference site plan control applications. Currently under review. This application was previously deferred at the November 13th, 2024 hearing. I will note that there is also concerns identified by engineering and construction services, and there's conditions of approval by community planning. Sorry. Standard consent conditions. They changed that. Yeah, an engineering review. I didn't understand that acronym. Having said that, I note, unless I'm told otherwise, there's no speakers present or online?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no registered speakers for this item.
Okay, so I guess we got to hear from the applicant or the agent. You want one? Okay. Good.
Kate, we are trying to unmute you. Please do not touch the button.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, we can. Your full name and your address, please.
Yes, my name is Kate Cooper. I am a partner and planner with Bousfields Incorporated. The address is 3 Church Street, Suite 200 in Toronto, M5E1M2.
Thank you very much. We've received your complete information and all that comes with that. I have canvassed committee members, and one has indicated we would like a brief presentation. Are you able to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, please proceed. Remember, you have up to 5 minutes. You don't have to use all that time. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. As I said, my name is Kate Cooper. I am here on behalf of my client, Mattamy Eglinton Limited. They are the landowners of the site that is subject of this consent application. This consent application has been part of an iterative process to facilitate the redevelopment of a portion of the lands and associated public infrastructure as required by the Golden Mile secondary plan. Our team has worked comprehensively with city staff, which includes planning and ECS with respect to the different components of this project. We do have our civil consultant, Mr. Payman Fatahi, with us here from Stantec in a supporting capacity. As you can see on the slide, the lands are located at the southeast corner of Eglinton Avenue West and Pharmacy Avenue. They're partially within the Golden Mile secondary plan area, and that's denoted by this sort of yellow overlay color. The lands in total are approximately 5 hectares in size and are comprised of 2 separate areas. If you can please go to slide 3. So the north block, which is colored in red there and denoted as a subject site, these are the retained lands, and they're approximately 2.9 hectares in size. They're designated mixed-use areas in the Toronto official plan. And the north block, as previously discussed, is located at the southern edge of the Golden Mile secondary plan boundary area. This is an area that's intended to accommodate a variety of land uses developed in a transit-oriented manner. The North Block's been approved in principle by the Ontario Land Tribunal and endorsed by Council for a future high-density mixed-use and transit-oriented development. There is a future public park and a future public road network, including the O'Connor Drive extension. That is currently subject to the city's ongoing municipal class environmental assessment. The North Block also is subject of a draft plan of subdivision and site plan control application, which are currently being reviewed by city staff. The South Block, which is sort of the beige color there, is the proposed severed lands. They're approximately 2.1 hectares in size. They're designated general employment areas in the City of Toronto official plan. And just to be clear, there is no development application on that portion of the lands. If you could please go to slide 4. So the purpose of the consent application before the committee today is to sever the lands into 2 parcels. The consent is appropriate in my view for a number of reasons. The site, as mentioned, has been conceptually divided by the split official plan designation that you can see on the screen, the red being the mixed use areas and the purple being the employment areas. The application will reflect the development application history of this North Block. It will result in the delivery of significant public benefits, including, as mentioned, a new public park, significant open space areas, and the O'Connor Drive extension, which is a new extension that continues east from the current terminus of O'Connor, as well as a new north-south public road that is going to connect in the future to Eglinton Avenue, strengthening the transportation network in the area. It's noted that the introduction of the O'Connor Drive extension, as required by the secondary plan, will actually physically separate the North Block and the South Block, and you can see that on the screen here. We have reviewed the proposed consent against the criteria outlined in section 51 sub 24 of the Planning Act, which are to be addressed when considering a draft plan of subdivision, part lot control, or consent. It's our opinion that the consent meets the relevant criterion. And as mentioned, we have worked with city staff to finalize the wording of the conditions of the consent provided by both planning and ECS. In addition to the comments that we've received by Metrolinx, and we do not have any concerns. This application, as noted, Mr. Chair, had been deferred 2 previous times within the last 6 months. We're happy to now be before you today after a long and comprehensive process, making sure we had the wording just right to the satisfaction of the city. So in conclusion, it's my view that the consent will result in a land division that better reflects the policy framework, the application history, and the future development of the North Block of these lands. And it's our opinion that the consent is appropriate and we're seeking the approval of such. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. That was concise and very detailed. Go ahead, Mr. Reid.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks for that presentation. I just want to confirm, I know you've been working with city staff, but that you are okay with all the conditions that have been put forward by community planning, engineering review, and the standard consent conditions?
Absolutely. Through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Reid. We worked quite extensively with staff, including our civil consultants, the city solicitor, and our client solicitor, to make sure the wording was absolutely perfect. And that's why it took us so long to get in front of you today.
All right, great, thanks.
Go ahead, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, sir. There are no variances for this, right?
That is correct. Through you, Mr. Chair. There are no variants. It's just the consent application before you today.
Can you share what kind of development you will have in these parcels?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the North Block has been approved by the Ontario Land Tribunal for a future high-density mixed-use development. So there are currently proposed to have 4 residential buildings on that North Block, in addition to a large future public park, as well as the O'Connor extension and another north-south public street. This is a development that's been in the works for many years. We had approval by the tribunal in principle about 1.5 years ago, and we're continuing to work through the details with city staff.
You mentioned 4 buildings. Are these apartments?
Pardon me, sir?
Mr. Khan's asking, are these apartment buildings?
The tenure has not yet been decided, but there are future residential buildings with non-residential at grade. So yes, residential tower buildings. And they range in height from 12 stories to 48 stories, in line with the secondary plan.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, let's take this into committee. We'll make a decision now. Go ahead, Mr. Reid.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is entirely appropriate. There's obviously been a lot of work that's gone into this consent, and finalizing these blocks and and identifying the roadway to be conveyed, this takes a while. And so I think this is appropriate for the redevelopment of the site, which is the redevelopment of the broader area. So I'll move approval of the application subject to community planning conditions, engineering review conditions, and the standard consent conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Go ahead, Mr. Khan.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Reed to approve, subject to conditions of community planning, engineering review, and standard consent conditions. And Mr. Khan has seconded that. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving to item 17, 59 Aragon Avenue, Toronto. The consent requested is to obtain to sever the property into 2 residential lots. The existing 1-story detached dwelling be demolished. Cross-reference minor variance applications. I noticed that the paperwork we have before us also includes conditions from urban forestry, engineering review, community planning, and standard consent conditions. I also will note that there is no, excuse me, noted speakers to this matter. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct. There are no registered speakers for this item.
Thank you.
And there are the associated minor variance applications.
Got you. Understood. Do we have the applicant agent available?
Hello.
Hello, your full name and your address, please.
Yeah, my name is Shen Zhang, architect. Office address is 98 Scarborough Road, North York. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. And I'm representing my clients, the owner who is sitting beside me. So the application is to sever the lot at 59 Aragon Avenue into 2 lots. One detached dwelling on each side where each new lot is proposed. And for that application, we have 5 variances associated with the severance and the proposed new houses. So the first one is dealing with the lot frontage. The bylaw requires 15-meter frontage. Both lots will have a lot frontage of 10.815 meters. So the second one is about the building length. The bylaw permit a building length of 17 meters. We propose the building length of 18 meter point 83 for both building. And the third variance about the building depth, the bylaw require permit a 19-meter depth for the buildings. We propose a building length of 20.04 meters for the building on new lot part 1, and then 19.34 meters on the part 2 lot because of the calculation. Actually, the building size are the same. And the fourth variance is about the GFA. So that bylaws permit a GFA, maximum GFA of 279 square meters. Square meters. And then the fifth one, last one, is about the side yard setback. The bylaw requires a 0.9 meter setback for the side yard. we proposed 0.6 meter side yard for the side between the two new buildings. So to the neighbors, we have 1.0 meter side yard setback. So I'd like to mention is that after the severance, that new lot area actually is compliant with the bylaw. The required lot area is 557 square meters. Our new lot is more than 680 square meters. And also the building height coverage and landscaping, or we designed to comply with building. I'm ready to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I have one quick question. Community planning says that they would like the revised site plan to be tied to our decision. Are you okay with that?
Yes, we are okay.
Thank you.
And yeah, we also have reviewed the staff report, the conditions regarding the tree protection engineering planning.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Khan has a question for
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Chair. Sir, I would like to know the lot area they have mentioned is 677.64. What is the required lot area?
Other 557, the minimum lot area. Ours is larger, is more than 600 square meters. And by the way, we also visited the neighbors. The neighbor at 54 and then 62, they supported our proposal.
Couldn't understand what he's saying.
Could you rephrase that and just try to help us understand what you said there, sir? We didn't grasp that fully.
Give us the figure, please.
Pardon me, I cannot hear very well. Could you repeat what your question is?
Are you asking, what are we asking?
I mentioned that I visited, talked to our neighbors. They are, nobody opposed the proposal. The neighbor at number 54 and 62 support, they said this, they are supportive.
Sir, I will make your life a little bit easier. You see, in the lot frontage, you are saying 10.815 meters, and the requirement is
Yeah.
15 meters, right? Okay,
Correct.
similarly, I'm asking, lot area is 677.64 meters square. What is the required area?
Yeah,
lot area?
the required minimum lot area is 557 square meters.
What?
557.
557? Yeah. Thank you, sir.
557, yeah, 557 square meters.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're going to have another question by Ms. McCauley. Go ahead.
Okay. You're proposing a frontage of 10.81 meters. In the area north of Cass Avenue and on ARAGON, where is there another lot that is less, that is 10.81 meters?
Good question. On the street, in the side,
North of Cass and
They
on
are,
Aragon. The lots on Malamut
yeah,
are bigger. I'm interested in the particular
yeah,
area here.
that's true. On the Oregon, the lot frontage is quite big, but on the street down there, they have many lot frontage is smaller than us. And also not far away, we have townhouses there. And by the way, our lot is very deep. So if we don't survey it and build a large house, then I don't think any people will live there. That is, you can see the neighbor on rear yard of our lot, that their frontage is smaller and the depth about only half of our lot. So after the severance, the new lot has still have a greater lot area than the zoning bylaw requires.
Yes, I
That's the
agree
reason
that
we
the
put-
lot area is bigger and it's bigger than what is
Yeah.
and behind. I was more interested in the frontage. I don't see any frontages less than 15 meters here. And I don't have a plan from you or a report from you with the lot frontages.
I understand, but to have the new buildings having the density, we actually, the new lot is not small, it's quite big. And about the frontage, we is slightly smaller than required, but we did not reduce the setbacks from the neighbors. That's the reason we, from urban design perspectives, we believe that the proposed development is very reasonable to the neighborhood. That's the reason both neighbors say that is a good move to have a smaller lot and then increase the number of units of the residential building. That is our argument. Actually, we have a planner who wrote a planning report that is also reviewed by staff before they issue the staff report.
Okay, no further questions.
Thank you. Sir, we're going to, at this point, take this into committee, and we'll give you our decision in a moment. Go ahead, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is that we have this consent in front of us. Part 1 retained, Part 2 conveyed with the variances, 5 variances. And the staff recommendations are with for the approval with conditions. And also engineering review has okayed it, has conditions, and forestry has a condition. So my motion is that this application be approved with the condition from the staff and also ECR plus forestry.
Thank you. Do I have anyone who wishes to second that motion?
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Khan's moved that we approve this subject to the conditions of engineering review, urban forestry, community planning, and also standard consent conditions. Seconded by Mr. Reed. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Motion passed. Thank you. Item number 18, 139 Bexhill Avenue, Toronto. The consent requested to obtain consent to sever the existing lot into 2 new residential lots. Applications will be considered jointly. And there are 1 letter of support, written correspondence, letters of support, 5, my apologies, and conditions of approval from urban forestry and standard consent conditions. I'm assuming it's just the applicant and agent we'll speak to?
Through the chair, correct, it's just the agent that's registered to speak and no registered speakers for this item.
Thank you. Hello, agent, are you available?
Yeah, so we are trying to unmute you. Please don't touch the button.
Hello, committee members and the chairperson. My name is Yasso Somaling. I'm the authorized agent on this application. And I wanted to say some changes on this application. What happened is that we worked with the urban forestry on the approval for the urban forestry approval. During the application, we had to save some tree in the back. So due to that, we came with the reduction in the severance application. So item number 4, instead of 45.84%, we are asking 43.2%.
Just to clarify, that's,
And
yeah, let's park this comment for a minute. We had your name. Can we get your address too, sir?
880 Ellesmere Road,
Thank you. And
Scarborough, Ontario.
thank you very much. And you are the agent?
That's right.
Okay. And I didn't get a chance to canvass panel here. Just give me a minute. Does anybody want a presentation? Okay, just be advised, sir, we're not requiring a presentation because of the complete package you've submitted to us and we've reviewed in detail. That being said, if I heard you correctly, you changed a number, is that correct, on one of the?
That's right. So variance number 4 on both applications will be reduced to 43.2%. And variance number 6, 7, and 9 eliminated.
Variance number 4 changes to 42.2%?
That's
And you're
40.
Sorry, go ahead.
So 43.2%. And we have eliminated variance number 6, 7, and 9.
Okay, thank
This
you.
is the result of urban forestry approval. So we had to do something to get it done.
And through the chair to the agent, that's also for part 2, for both minor variance applications, part 1 and part 2?
Same for the part. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thank you. I'm like I said, I've canvassed. We're not looking for a fulsome presentation. I think there may be some questions. Let me just look to the committee. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Sir, if it's okay with you, we're going to go right into committee and make a decision on this because we're quite content with what you've provided us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Hold.
All right, through the chair to the applicant, can you please state for the record if you're amending the purpose of the application at all? Have you removed any balconies or platforms or any changes to your purpose of application for the minor variances?
No, these are the only changes we have done.
Okay, thank you for confirming.
Thank you, Deputy Treasurer. Ms. McCauley, your light's on. Are you leading us? Go ahead, please.
Okay. I'm going to lead by saying this is BEXHILL. We have seen BEXHILL probably at every agenda that we've had, so we know that this is an area that's very active. I'm actually happy to see that what he wants to do is divide the lot in half with frontages of 7.61 meters. We have a couple of applications down there that we're asking for fourplexes with no parking. I was concerned, I haven't seen them built yet, but this type of development that's in front of us, I have seen out there, and it fits in the character of the area. So I'm prepared to support the consent application, the variances, subject to the standard conditions. There's no consent agreement required.
Yes, thank you very much for that. And noting earlier, there are 5 letters of support. Anyone? Mr. Howe?
Thank you, Chair. I will move, I will second this motion. I would just note, I believe there's a urban forestry condition as well.
Correct. So we have a motion to approve by Ms. McCauley with conditions of approval from urban forestry and standard consent. We have it seconded by Mr. Howe. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Sorry, and I know this is no, but just for the record, as amended, right? The motion is?
As amended.
Yeah.
Okay. So as amended, all those in favor? And that's unanimous, motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 19, 29 Anson Avenue in Toronto. To obtain consent to sever the property into 2 residential lots, the existing 2-story detached dwelling be demolished, cross-reference minor variance applications. In regards to this matter, there's conditions from community planning, engineering review, urban forestry, standard consent conditions. In terms of correspondence, there are 6 letters of support, 1 letter of concern, 1 letter of objection, and a petition of objection and requesting deferral, 24 signatures. There's also 1 registered speaker.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we also have 2 speakers here in person.
And they have identified. Thank you. The agent applicant is online?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, the agent is online.
Okay, we're going to start with them, folks, and then we're going to have you speak. Okay, thank you. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, agent. Can you identify yourself first and last name and your address, please?
Mr. Chair, I'm not the speaker for this application today. Do I still continue and introduce myself? The speaker is Mr. Ali Hussain.
So just for clarity's sake, why are we speaking with you?
Hello.
Okay. Hi. Go ahead. Just if you can tell us why are we speaking with you? I'm trying to understand that. Are you the interpreter, a relative, a friend?
Mohammed, you've been unmuted.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Please state your first and last name and address for the record, please, as the agent.
Hello, good afternoon, Chair. My name is Muhammad Ali Hussain. I'm the engineer as the applicant. I'm present.
Okay, so you're calling yourself the applicant, that's
Okay.
right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Okay.
Just let me check Canvas Committee. We do have some people here to speak to this issue, so I'm expecting we should have a small presentation. Mr. Ali, can you give us a presentation, please, about what this is about? And just keep in mind, sir, we're on virtual communication, so do the best you can to help us understand what is being said here so we can get this accurately, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this is 29 Anson Avenue. The lot is oversized lot. Lot size is 22.86 meter. Frontage and length is 89.71 meter. That means is around frontage 75 feet and length is 294 feet. So therefore we propose the lot CBR into 2 lots. Now is our we have the 4 minor variants. Number 1 is lot frontage. Our proposal is 11.43 meter, whereas required frontage is 12 meter. Then building height, we propose 9.45 meter, and required, allowed building height is 9 meter. The building wall height, we propose 7.92 meter, whereas building wall height allowed is 7 meter. So we need 0.9 meter due to we have in the design living room above the garage this small amount of height. Length, we propose the length 18.29 meter, whereas allowed building length is 17 meter only. So considering the huge lot, this is the building size is very small. So we have no condition from community planner, and there is also ECS. There is no objection from ECS. Regarding the tree, so we need to cut some small tree. We'll talk with the neighbor to cut the boundary tree, and we'll get their permission, as well as we'll follow the arborist and urban forestry recommendation. So that's all from my point.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you
that.
very much.
Okay. Does anyone have a question for this gentleman? Yeah, okay. Mr. Khan and then Ms. McCauley.
Thank you, sir. My question is, sir, you have two parts, retained and conveyed. I would appreciate to know the lot area that you have not given us. Lot frontage, I know 11.43 and required is 12 meter. But how much is the lot area
Right.
for 1025.1 meter square, and what is the required one area?
Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. I have this information. The required is only 464 meter square, but we have 1024 square meter.
Thank you.
Length is huge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I see that we have a plan with some trees on it. Has this tree
Yes, sir.
report been submitted to urban forestry?
Yes, we already we got the report from arborist, and we as well as we applied to the urban forestry. Yeah.
Have you received a report from urban forestry? You said you submitted, but you haven't received a report.
Not yet.
Okay. So this application, before it gets completed, we'll have to submit a report and get approval from urban forestry. The reason I'm raising that is I've read some of the letters that said the trees are not on the property as shown on their drawing here, but are on adjacent property. So there is no level of approval for those trees yet. And before he gets the building permit, he does have to get approval. So that's all my comment. Just want to clarify that.
Yeah, definitely we'll collect the permission from urban forestry, as well as we will get the approval from neighbor, because there is three and four tree from the neighbor tree. Also, this tree condition is very poor as per arborist report.
Okay. All right. That's all my.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. Thank you, sir. We have to speak to the speakers. So perhaps you would like to come down and we'll do that. Thank you for coming and good afternoon. Just to be clear, it's first and last name and your address?
My name is Ren Walker, and my address is 19 Crestwood Drive, Scarborough.
Wonderful. Are you going to be doing all the speaking, or will the other person with you be speaking too?
She is registered to speak as well.
Okay, I just want to be clear for us as the group up here.
No
So
problem.
You have up to 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Okay. I am the appointee of Margaret Crossman, owner of 25 Anson. I grew up on this street. Anson Avenue has historically been a single-family dwelling neighborhood. The people on this street, this community, have invested in a common interest of single-family dwellings. These beautiful veteran lots have been an integral part of this community. I want to state that we are not against upgrading or modernizing old houses. However, this proposal is not desirable for appropriate development or use of the land and or building. The variance is definitely not minor. Not only is the building plan higher, longer, and the frontage narrower than is presently permissible, they want to put 2 detached structures, which will have 4 dwellings, where a single-family dwelling now exists. The front of these dwellings will basically become a parking lot. What if the residents have multiple cars? Where does the overflow go? The street? With sidewalks on only the north side, children or anyone else trying to deal with obstructed visibility while maneuvering the street is unsafe. The severance of this lot to put 4 homes where one currently exists will contribute to destroying the fabric of this single-family community. All of this is a large change and a substantial specific impact on my mother's property. Lastly, I want to clearly state again that there will be no trees removed from the property of 25 Anson Avenue without our approval and consent. I request that this plan be deferred and that the severance of the property be denied. Thank you.
Okay, just a quick question.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
okay. You're doing great. How long has your mother lived there again?
Over 60 years.
Okay. And the other question I wanted to ask is the aptitude for the trees, your interest in the trees, this has been something derived because your family enjoy the trees on the property?
They're beautiful big trees.
Okay.
I mean, there's an apple tree. It's not a crab apple tree. It's an apple tree that's not big, but one of them is a huge silver maple.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions for this speaker? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, sir, not yet. We're going to hold off on you. Just hold the phone for a moment. Pardon the pun. And the other speaker, if you're available, first and last name, please, and your address.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Colleen Rumble, and I reside at 18 Anson Avenue. And I'm here today to speak about the neighborhood concerns regarding the proposed severance of 29 Anson Avenue. As stated in the letter of opposition from the neighbors on Anson Avenue, we're concerned with the request to sever the lot. This lot is a Victory House property that was established after the war as a reward to those who served the country. On Anson Avenue, there exists 4 of these properties. They are all in a row. Precedence has already been set within the neighborhood with respect to maintaining these lots. The TLAB case file is referenced in the letter that we sent. Signatures of opposition from Anson Avenue are all from people who reside in their homes on Anson Avenue. Apart from one signature who can also be found on our sheet, signed support from those who are in support of it are currently from houses that have multi-tenant housing residing in them. Some of the owners live there, some don't. Finally, I would like to address the issues of the destruction of the 8 trees. The arborist report is not based on a survey, and yet is asking for the destruction of 8 trees some of which we have already pointed out are not the ownership of 29 Anson. The report was not based on a survey, and it states it may be inaccurate. Also of note is that the tree declaration form submitted is incomplete. Outside of the request to remove the neighbor's trees, there is also a request to remove a tree, and if you look on the report, it's number 16, which would not impact the proposed build, but which we would suggest sets up for the construction of garden suites, to which someone who identified himself to me as one of the owners suggested that that was the plan after the build was done, was to put 2 garden suites in the back. We should note that this house has already been identified as an unregistered multi-tenant house. We state that this proposed build does not meet the standard of the 4 tests. Severing this historic lot would change the overall established characteristic of this community. We ask that this be heavily considered when determining to sever this lot or not. We also ask for a deferral with respect to the arborist report until such time as an accurate report and survey can be completed and the correct information surrounding the trees can be found. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hold on, we'll see if we have some question. We don't have a question. There was something you did say, I'm going to ask a question in regards to the application for the tree declaration. Can you say that again?
Okay.
Do you remember you said it was incomplete? Do you remember how that's incomplete?
It was incomplete because a couple of the boxes were not ticked. So when, I guess, so I don't know the forms off by heart. It's the 3rd box down, and it was with respect to when you do damage or maybe when you are going to destroy that tree. That box should have been completed twice in 2 areas, and it wasn't completed. So the form is actually not completely filled out, which perhaps begs to your question about why I haven't received a reply, because it's an incomplete form.
Thank you. That was a very good answer. Appreciate it. So the agent, are you available, Mr. Ali?
Hello. Yes, I'm available.
Sir,
So I like to answer,
sir,
regarding the tree.
Yes, sir. To start you off, I want to ask you a question. Did you hear both speakers?
Yes, I hear.
You did. Okay, and we're going to start the clock. We just wanted to get everything set up. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, regarding the tree, actually we don't have intention to cut any tree. The tree, it depends on expert, right? I'm not the tree expert. We hired the arborist. Based on her report, we'll follow the urban forestry guideline. In addition, we will not cut any single tree from the neighbor property. I can tell you, I guarantee. So then next question is lot here, garden suite. There is a false information. Owner don't have any intention to build the garden suite here. So yeah, that's all.
Mr. Ali, are you still there, or are you done, or did you cut out?
I'm here. It's okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say?
So also this in the Anson route, there is a lot severance happened before, like 26 and 26A. It's just opposite side of our lot. So there are lots of lots. The frontage is 12 meter and below 12 meter. 26A is below 12 meter lot frontage. That is just for information for the committee.
Are you asking if we have any questions?
No. I'm okay.
Are you done speaking, or is there more?
Yes, yes. I'm okay. I'm done.
Okay, let me look at the committee. Ms. McCauley?
I have no questions for the applicant. I have some comments.
Okay, hold that thought, please. Mr. Howe?
Thank you, Chair. My question to the applicant is, we heard comments about you requiring to remove, well, you said you wouldn't remove, but you would need to injure your neighbor's trees. Is that correct? And if so, you would need consent. You would need to obtain consent from your neighbors before you could proceed. And my question really is, if you need to injure your neighbor's
Definitely.
trees, you know, do you absolutely need to injure the trees before you can proceed with the redevelopment, or can you do without injuring those trees?
No, you know, during construction, the underground excavation, sometimes we injure the root of the tree. Based on urban forestry recommendation, we will put the protection, injure protection. We'll do this. In addition, we'll sit together with the owner, neighbor, both sides of the neighbor, definitely. Mutually, we will do it.
But we have heard from your neighbors that they're not giving you consent. So that's my question to you is, if you don't have consent and they refuse, and which is their right, can you still proceed with this development?
Will not destroy their tree. There is a 4 feet, more than 5 feet setback here. So I believe it will be okay to build the house without destroying neighbor tree.
So you're telling me if you do not receive consent from your neighbors to injure their trees?
Definitely, I'll try to get the approval from the neighbor.
No, the question is not about whether you will or not. The question is, if you do not obtain consent from your neighbors, can you still proceed with this development or not? Because if not, then it's too, I think it's too
No,
premature.
without committee approval, I'm here for the severance, right? Without committee approval, I cannot build anything here, right? If I get the approval, then I'll develop the house here.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, that was very useful, Mr. Howe. Go ahead, Ms. McCauley, and after you, I may have a question.
Okay. I have a comment. I don't have any more questions of the applicant. Does anyone? No. Okay. All right. My comment is, community planning staff are recommending that should the committee approve this application, that in order to ensure the proposed two-story detached dwelling is constructed substantially in accordance with the submitted drawings. In other words, that we tie this application to the submitted drawings. But it's been very clear that those submitted drawings will require the removal of a number of trees. And he doesn't have a tree approval. He doesn't have approval of the neighbors. He is building very close to the property lines. I think what we should be doing here is deferring this application, telling the applicant to get his approval from urban forestry for the tree preservation, and then we will look at where he is proposing to build, and he would build in accordance with that approval. So it's a changing things around a bit, but he needs to get the approval from urban forestry. Usually we put that at the end, but in this case, and given the comments from the community, I think we need to start to look at urban forestry first and then talk about where can he build, and then approve the variances in accordance to his building envelopes after he has considered how the trees be preserved. So I'm recommending a deferral of this application with the instructions of the applicant to proceed to urban forestry for their approval of elimination of whatever trees he needs to.
Go ahead.
Through the chair to members, I will just point out that Urban Forestry has reviewed the application and did provide their conditions. So they have imposed Urban Forestry condition number 2 and number 3 for the minor variance applications.
Okay, can you just read to me, because I don't have it in front of me. What's condition 2?
So condition number 2, and staff can put it on the screen as well. Urban Forestry condition number 2 relates to the private tree, to injure the private tree. We have it on the screen. If staff can just blow it up, actually.
So does he have approval to injure the private tree?
What's the condition? So regardless of committee of adjustment approval, the applicant still has to get approval from Urban Forestry. So regardless of the C of A, they would not be able to proceed if forestry had an issue. They would have to resolve forestry issues regardless for building permit.
Yes, okay, I understand. And what I'm saying is, given the concerns of the community, given that he knows he has to do this but hasn't, and doesn't seem at all concerned, that we defer the application. He gets the approval to delete these trees from Urban Forestry, and then he comes back for whatever variances and consent applications he needs.
Thank you. I concur with my colleague, Ms. McCauley here, because on the one hand, we have urban forestry conditions, which governs trees on the applicant's lot, but it's a whole different issue to go on someone else's property and have to injure their trees. And for that, you need the owner's consent, and they're not one of the same. Even if urban forestry permitted injury or removal of trees on the applicant's lot, he still has to get consent from neighbors to trim their tree or remove their trees. So I agree that it's too, we heard neighbors objecting to this, and they would never allow this applicant to injure trees on their property. So I'm just wondering how we could approve such an application. We know he will be hitting a roadblock, so I agree with the deferral. So the applicant needs to sort out this issue before he comes back to us for approval again.
And community planning wants the assurance, as per their report, that what they have seen is what he gets his building permit for. So what they have seen, and maybe they have not considered the trees, would not be permitted if he can't get approval for the cutting of the trees. So it's a somewhat unusual situation, but I think in this case, this is an applicant, he knows what he's doing. Go out and get your approval, we'll defer you. And when you've got your approval from tree preservation, with the plans, showing what you can, then come back. It's unusual.
Go ahead, Mr. Reed, and after
Thanks.
you, I'd like to say something.
If I may, I think I agree with my colleagues, and particularly because of the community planning comment. They want it substantially in accordance with plans. Mm-hmm. And in the forestry report, in their commentary at the end, they talk that, there may be conditions or changes to plans that result. And particularly the driveway to the west side, that's within a tree protection zone, and I think that would probably have to get swapped out, and then we'd have an issue that it would be approved substantially in accordance, but those plans would then have to change. So I agree that I think it is premature in this case.
Thank you. This doesn't sit well with me. How many times has this been up? Is this the first time? Okay. For some reason, I had another thought, but I'll leave it right here in the four corners, and that is this. I'm not satisfied with what I'm hearing today from the agent, and that's because after I heard him speak, I was still wondering about several issues. I then heard Mr. Howe, a member of this body, ask some questions that I don't think I got a clear answer to. And then I've heard from the agent himself speak about the trees, but to Mr. Howe's point, and Mr. Reed's and Ms. McCauley's, color of right is to the neighbors that have these trees on their property. And there's no way that anybody can supersede that. And I'm not satisfied sitting here today that those trees are safe under what I'm hearing. So if this goes to a vote, I'll be voting against it. And I just wanted to be transparent about that. Thank you. Ms. McCauley, go ahead.
Okay, I'm prepared to put forth a motion. The motion is that the application for consent and variances be deferred, that the applicant proceed to get a tree preservation report approved, and that report and his house siting be considered by community planning to determine whether they wish to have the buildings built as shown on the plans that they see.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. We've heard the motion. Does anyone wish to second that? Go ahead, Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Chair. I will second the motion.
Moved by Ms. McCauley under the conditions that she set, seconded by Mr. Howe. All those in favor? And that is approved to defer the application. Sorry. Okay, we're on item 20. (137) Sandown Avenue, Toronto. Purpose of the application is to alter the existing two-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear one-story addition, sunroom, and rear ground floor deck. Note this application was previously deferred at the Committee of Adjustment hearing on February 12, 2025. I notice in the correspondence we have before us, there's recommendations, with community planning. There's also, this was deferred February 12th, as mentioned, to consult with community planning and neighbors to potentially revise the proposal. I don't see any speakers for this matter. Okay.
Through the chair, there are no registered speakers for this item, and the agent, I believe, is in person.
Oh, come on down, sir. You're the next contestant. Your full name, please, and your address. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee. My name is David Ray from On the Six Designs, here representing for 137 Sandown Avenue.
So you understand you have up to 5 minutes. I'm just going to canvass committee. Does anyone need a full presentation? Okay, we're pretty happy with what you've presented so far, so judge yourself accordingly. You can use up to 5 minutes, but maybe you would like to say a few words before we make a decision or ask you some questions.
Certainly, yeah, I was brought into this project afterwards from the company. Deferral and all that stuff, unassured why at that point. I have talked with Joey, gone through everything in regards to the request. I had provided documentation just basically representing property neighbors beside. And the only thing I guess I wanted to address was there was some paperwork from urban forestry. Yet when looking at all information that I have provided, I don't see any trees in the backyard that are going to be impacted in any way for this project.
You don't see any trees that will be impacted by the project? Okay,
No.
Good. There is the notation about consulting with neighbors. Did that take place?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I have to ask the question, so
Absolutely.
your answer is
No.
appreciated when you're
Yeah, I
straightforward.
didn't get an opportunity to talk to any neighbors.
And the community planning concerns you feel are addressed?
I did talk with them and went over everything. The request and the requirements, what they were asking for, just doesn't satisfy the customer at this point for the setbacks. And when cross-referencing it to adjacent neighbors, that one adjacent neighbor is already well beyond the max specification that was that we're looking at.
Through the chair for the record, so this application was previously deferred at the request of staff due to lack of public notice and at the request of the applicant in order to consult with community planning and neighbors to potentially revise the proposal. Those were the deferral reasons. And through you, Mr. Chair, to the agent, you're saying there has not been any community consultation?
To my understanding, no community consultation. I was unaware of why everything was deferred. I was just asked to bring this back forth, discuss with Joey within the city. We went over it multiple times, back and forth, and she says these are the numbers that are required, and she understood what we were requesting, and she didn't see any major physical impact, but she was just stipulating what the standards were and guidelines within the city.
Okay, through the chair to the agent, community planning has put forward a report recommending various revisions to the application. If staff can pull up the community planning staff report. So to the agent, you can see on the screen, community planning is recommending that variance 1 regarding building length be reduced to a maximum of 19.50 meters, and that variance number 2 regarding building depth be reduced to a maximum of 24.51 meters.
Yes, and those are the ones that I did discuss in regards with the lady at the office. And when we looked at it and combined it to the properties directly to, if you're looking at the house to the right, they were already well beyond that said 19.5, where it sits at 21.287, not including the rear bump out at the rear, and where we're only asking for the 21.49. So we are, yes, we're 0.2 of a meter beyond. Not even actually the rear of the property. And that house is also a 2-story. This is a single story, non-foundation, structure at the back of the property.
Through the chair to the agent, staff, could you please pull up the public hearing notice? So just so we're abundantly clear for the record. So you're not, we'll wait till staff has it on the screen. So sir, those are your requested variances. Are you amending those variances or not?
No, those are what we're
Thank
looking for.
you.
Thank you, Deputy Treasurer. That was, I found very useful. I am a little concerned. First of all, I don't want to blame the messenger. You're doing your job. Well done. There was a requirement leaving here last time for this file to have the neighbors consulted. And that disturbs me, I'll be honest. City tries to do its best, keeping people informed. Everybody gets a fair chance to speak their mind. I'm just going to leave that out there for a minute. The other thing is that, did you say you were aware of community planning's recommendations?
I did have the discussions with community planning in regards to the recommendations, and throughout our conversation, she said, these are what our standards are and we can comply with. She goes, I understand and indirectly accept. She goes, but I can't put it in technically in the documentation. She goes, I suggest that you do to go to the committee and discuss this with them, as you're not impacting greatly on the property.
Okay, I don't understand that, but I'm sort of not always the best to, I'm going to leave that to Ms. McCauley to ask. Let's go ahead.
Okay. I see this as an application. This is, to me, an application. It's a bread and butter application. We see loads of them. What they want to do is build a sunroom in the backyard. He's got a certain size of sunroom that he wants to build. It's probably a standard. And that requires a building length of 21.48 meters and a depth of 26 meters. So everything else he can fit, but it's building length. The staff are recommending that regardless of the plans, the building length and the building depth be less. I'm looking at what is out there from what we can see on the plans. This lot is, if staff would just pull up the plan so I can do a full presentation here. The this lot is between two other lots. The lots to the south have a house that's even deeper into the backyard than this one. The lot to the north has a fairly large backyard. There is nothing to me to say that an extension of essentially 16 feet would cause any problems to the adjacent properties. It's a sunroom. We see lots of these sunrooms. He still meets the rear yard setback. He meets all the side yard setbacks. It's really the size of the sunroom that is causing the variance here. And I don't see a negative to the size of this sunroom.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. Very useful for me. No, do you? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Sure. Thanks. I agree with your point. I think one thing that's important here is that it's just one story, right? And it's a sunroom. So I think if we were to put forward a motion to approve this, I'd like that it would include a one-story caveat or something, please.
Very good. How does that sound?
It's only intended to be a single-story sunroom, so that sounds fantastic.
Through the chair, I can also suggest tying to the site plan.
Mr. Howe, Mr. Khan, anything? We're good? You want to say something? Okay. All right, so we're going to go into committee now, sir, because that's what we do. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, we're in committee. Ms. McCauley?
Okay. I am recommending approval of this application for building length and building depth, subject to building in compliance with the plan that has been submitted, and that the building be a one-story building maximum.
Thank you. The motion by Ms. McCauley's been made. Anyone wish to second that? Go ahead, Mr. Reed.
I'll second that, Chair.
Seconded by Mr. Reed. The application, as it stands, was put forth by Ms. McCauley to approve, subject to the site plans being tied to this decision, our approval, and also the recommendations of community planning. No, sorry.
Be tied to the site plan.
The site plan.
And be tied to a maximum of one story.
That was it. And tied to a maximum of one story. That was seconded by Mr. Reed. All those in favor? And that's unanimous, and that's approved. Thank you. Item 21, 22 Burnley Avenue, Toronto. Purpose of the application is to alter the existing one-story dwelling with a rear and south side yard, two-story addition, and demolishing the existing detached garage. There will be a total of 2 dwelling units on the lot. This application was previously deferred at the February 12, 2025 hearing. There are conditions of approval from Urban Forestry Community Planning and 1 registered speaker.
Through you, Mr. Chair, before we begin this item, just to state for the record that to make a technical correction, the public hearing notice and the decision will state that this was submitted on a waiver, not a zoning review. So we'll just make that technical correction. And we have the agent online.
Good afternoon.
Hi, could you give us your first and last name and address, please?
My name is Nusrat Jahan, address 3400 Danforth Avenue, unit number 5, Scarborough.
Thank you. Let me look to the committee. Does anyone want a full presentation? It looks like we are satisfied with the documents you've already submitted, and we've reviewed them in detail. Is there anything you'd like to add? And we may ask you some questions. Is there anything you'd like to say?
I would like to restate some of our efforts to make this proposal more acceptable. So about the last committee, when we were here, we had 10 variances, and we were advised to address concerns from community planning, and there was one concern named. We did our best effort, and we adjusted our plans. In terms of concerns with proposed rear yard setback, deck encroachment, balcony encroachment. So right now, community planning staff has no concerns with this updated application. And we also take into consideration the committee advice in the last deferral to remove the building height variance. We did that. At this point, we only have 4 variances. Out of 10, only 4 were, we adjusted, eliminated 6 variances from the last deferral, and right now we came down to 4 variances. There is we did a lot of conversation with our neighbor, which is at 20 Burnley Avenue. The neighbor was cooperative, and we sat. We had a discussion over the phone and resolved three of his concerns, which are the exterior rear stair setback. We have increased that, as you can see in the revised plan, and we also eliminated or relocated windows from the south side to the east side, which is the front part of the building, to address the neighbor's privacy concern, and have added revised the plan, which would it's not with the committee yet, because we just had this revision done to show our neighbor that this would look like if we relocate those two windows to the front part. And then we will also build a fence, a 6.5 feet height fence at the south side of the property, as per our neighbor's request at 2020 Burnley Avenue, and owner will do that at his own. I would request the committee to consider our application, considering that we have done extensive work with the community planning and the concerned neighbor at 20 Burnley Avenue, and we are requesting for approval of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was very concise. I remember this file in February, and I do agree it was at the 10 issues, and now you have down to 4 variances. So thank you for your efforts. I look to committee. Does anybody have any?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will note we do have a speaker from 20 Burnley Avenue, virtually online.
Okay, so sit tight. We're going to hear from the speaker.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Your first and last name and your address, please.
My name is Harry Vavarutsos. I'm speaking on behalf of 20 Burnley Avenue, the neighbor next door. Do you need my personal address, or because I don't live there, my mother lives there?
The name's fine for now. For your your Harry, just for the moment, you have up to 5 minutes to speak, so feel free to, but you can also not take the full 5 minutes. So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just, we did have communications as the agent spoke earlier. I just wanted to get clarifications on a couple things. The proposed exterior stair setbacks is going to, it says here, increase in her notes that she submitted. I just want to make sure that that is going to meet the minimum. It's going to state that it meets the minimum setback requirements. The second point I wanted to put was we did discuss the windows on the south, and on here it says it's going to relocate to the east side, which will relieve our concerns. However, according to the drawings, if I'm mistaken, you can tell me, there still shows windows on the south side. But my understanding and what we agreed to was that they were going to remove the windows on the south side. So I'd like clarification on that. And then, yeah, the fence they talked about, it was a privacy fence of 6 feet along the south property line that went from the back lot line right through to the walkout entrance that they proposing on the side. So I just need clarification of those, and that, if there's a way that we can commit these drawings and these notes to the drawings that were submitted that clearly show that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Any questions for this speaker? Okay. Sorry, Deputy Treasurer, did you have something?
Through the chair, I would just note that these are the plans on file, so there's no changes that we can make today to these plans to add those notes or to show those changes. So either, it's a private agreement between the applicant and the neighbor, or there's a for the record note about these changes, or just a commitment from the agent to revise these plans for building permit, or defer the application for the applicant to officially revise the plans. So those are the options, and the applicant can speak to that.
Thank you very much.
Can I get clarity on what for the record note means? Like,
Through the chair, it would be just a for record note in the minutes.
I'd be satisfied with that if you could put that on record. I would be satisfied. That's something I can look back at if I need to.
Okay, very good, sir. If no one has a question for you, we're going to go back now to the applicant and let them address some of these concerns. Thank you.
Yes, so about the exterior stair setback, in the previous hearing, it was added as one of the variances, which says that south side lot line from the exterior stairs to the south side lot line should not be no closer than 0.6. And right now, if you see our revised plan, it is we have maintained that. I mean, it is 0.6 meter. Before it was 0.15 meter, but now we have increased it to 0.6 meter, which fulfills the bylaw.
Okay, that's point one. Thank you.
I have to ask our neighbor to repeat the second question. I lost track of that about the.
So we may be able to assist. He made a reference to on the drawings, unless he is incorrect, he said, that the windows are on the wrong, in the wrong area on the plans. Can you confirm where those windows should be, on what side?
Okay, if the staff can pull out on my presentation where I have added the proposal that was sent to the neighbor at 20 Burnley as per his requirement, it will clarify that question. Yeah, at the site plan, please. Yes. So if you see the south side, there was at the addition part, there was 2 windows before, but if you see the cloud, now we have moved it to the front part. Maybe the staff have to zoom a little more. So there are no windows at this moment in our proposal at the south side of the property for this application.
Through the
We
chair
are
to,
not,
sorry, through the chair to the agent, but this is just your presentation material drawings, correct? Is this reflected on your plans that have been submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, this change?
so we could reach our neighbor at 20 Burnley at the end of the, very close to the hearing date, and there was not enough time to revise that proposal. But as our neighbor was saying, that if this is on the record as notes, he would be satisfied. And we are, it can be put as in conditions that we have to relocate our windows from the south side of the addition to the front, to the east side of the house.
Through the chair,
New
we
addition.
can't preclude something that is permitted. However, as I stated, you could add a for the record note that the applicant is willing and has agreed to do that. So we would just need the language. I believe it's referenced, staff, if you could just go up one page back to the 3 points that the agent had provided in there, right? So to clarify, number 1 complies, and that is shown on your current plan submitted to the committee. Number 2, 2 windows from the south left exterior wall will be relocated to the east side front exterior wall. That can be put as a note in the minutes for this application. To the agent, do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And then number 3 on the screen, regarding the fence, owner of 22 Burnley Ave will install a fence along the south left lot line of the property, extending from the proposed walkout entry to the rear of the house. This could also be added as a note for the record. You agree, right? Correct.
Yes, I do agree. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Treasurer. And thank you to the agent. At this point, does anyone have any questions for the agent? No. We're going to go into committee now. We are in committee. Who would like to start?
Be a staff. Community planning said that they wanted to build in accordance with the plans. Having changed those plans, we can't put that as a condition anymore.
Through the chair, it could be open to interpretation to still be substantially in accordance if the applicant is flipping a window location or installing a fence, but that could be open to interpretation by the zoning examiner or building staff. You're right, so you may not want to tie to site plan, or you may want to just be very specific about what is tied to site plan. You could say with the exception of the window location and a future fence if you wanted to get specific, or just not tied to site plan at all. Those are your options.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
I'm not sure. I don't think the site plan is showing windows though, so that might be helpful.
So maybe when you say that, Mr. Reed, you're suggesting that it may not be a problem?
That would be my opinion. I mean, I'm not so sure. I think it might make sense trying to have it to site plan because this is a really oddly shaped building. And just to control those setbacks and see where the pinch points are, I think it would be helpful to actually have the site plan tied to it. But maybe adding language in that saying subject to the notes for the record before regarding window and fence and then that kind of stuff.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Chair. I could take a crack at this motion.
Sure, go for it.
So previously, this application was deferred on February 12th, 2025, to address community planning comments. Since then, the applicant appears to have addressed CP concerns and have submitted a revised proposal, which appears to have reduced the size of the rear deck to eliminate variances related to balcony encroachments, incorporated recommendations to remove the building height variance, and resolve the neighbors' concerns regarding the exterior stairs as well as windows. At this time, the current application before us only have 4 variances, and they appear minor and meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Subject to community planning conditions tying to the site plan and urban forestry condition number 2. Save and accept that the 2 windows from the south exterior wall shall be relocated to the east side exterior wall due to the neighbor's privacy concerns, and the owner of 22 Burnley shall install a privacy fence, along the south lot line of the property extending from the proposed walkout entry to the rear of the house.
Through the chair, sorry, we can't add a condition that would be precluding something that's permitted. So the fence and the windows, we couldn't put that as a condition,
Okay.
but you could leave that as a note.
Sure.
And I think, as Mr. Reed stated, the site plan, if it doesn't show the windows, then that should be okay.
And in that case, I would ask the staff to put a comment that the neighbor at 20 Burnley Avenue and the owner at 22 Burnley Avenue has agreed that the 2 windows from the south essentially is what's stated on the slide, or as I previously stated, that they will carry out those 2 adjustments.
That was very helpful. We have the motion by Mr. Howe. Would someone like to second it? Go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. I'll second that motion.
We have the motion moved by Mr. Howe as stated and seconded by Mr. Reed. All those in favor? That is unanimous and moved and carried. Thank you. Item 22. (897) Victoria Park Avenue, Toronto. The purpose of the application is to construct a new 3-story detached 4-plex building with 2 rear yard balconies. The existing 1-story detached dwelling will be demolished. There will be a total of 4 dwelling units on the lot. The application was previously deferred at the March 12, 2025 hearing. Also, for this file, we have notations of conditions of approval from urban forestry and community planning. There's also another notation of amending purpose to clarify 2 front yard balconies instead of 2 rear yard balconies, confirmed with the applicant. And there's no speakers or correspondence. So we should speak to the applicant if they're available.
Hi, I'm the applicant and the owner's agent.
Thank you. And your name and address, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee. My name is Kunishta Khan. My address is 31 Delside Crescent, North York.
Thank you. Committee members, do you need a full presentation? I'm just canvassing committee. No? Or Ms. McCauley, are we good? Oh, would you like a presentation?
I can do without different type. With the rest of you, do you want to?
I'm fine with just questions. I'm fine with just questions.
Okay.
All right. Miss, it seems like we're pretty happy with the information you've submitted us, meaning we've reviewed it. We understand what you're saying. We're going to have some questions for you. Are you good with answering those questions instead of a presentation?
Sure.
Okay, so let's start with a question. Mr. Reed, would you like to lead us?
Sure, thanks. A couple questions. So community planning has a comment asking the front yard landscaping to go up to 70%. Are you fine with that?
So they have provided two comments. One is 70% or the permeable pavers. We are going to accept the idea of doing 100% of our driveway permeable pavers.
So you're accepting of their comment number 2, but not their first comment? Is that what you're saying? The 70%?
Yes, because if we are meeting the 70%, we don't need the permeable pavers.
Okay, so sorry, you're saying you will meet the 70%, but you don't want to be adding the permeable pavers, is that it?
No, we currently our grass area is 37%, which is better than our last application. It was 27%, now it's 37%, and we will make 100% of our driveway permeable pavers, which is a better situation than 70% grass and 30% asphalt driveway. So we will request to give us an approval with 37% grass and rest of it permeable pavers.
Okay, I understand that. So you're leaving variant 6 as it is?
Yes.
Okay. And then there were some questions about the balconies. The purpose has, are the balconies in the front or the rear? It's not exactly clear in the...
It's in the front.
They're in the front, okay. Because in the purpose of the application, it says, the first sentence ends with, and 2 rear yard balconies. So should that say 2 front yard balconies?
Yes, it will be 2 front yard balconies. There is no balcony in the rear yard.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Go ahead, Ms. McCauley.
Okay, I just want to be clear because staff are recommending 1 parking space in the front yard, and the application shows 2 parking spaces in the front yard. I was looking at this, and I understand that, you know, we want to be environmentally friendly, but on this particular property, for 4 dwelling units, it makes sense to have 2 parking spaces. And I note that the rear yard is fully grassed, nothing in there. There's a lot of open space on this lot without having to reduce it. So I think what the applicant is saying is she still wants 2 parking spaces in the front yard, but she's willing to put in the eco-friendly pavers for the parking spaces. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Go ahead, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, sir. I'm looking on the variances. There are 7 variances. And the purpose of this new 3-story detached. How do I understand it's a 3-story? I mean, the height is a little bit higher. That's all indicative that it could be. But I don't know 3-story.
If the staff opens the floor plan or the elevations, I think the elevation will make it clear.
Okay.
This is a 4-plex.
So we have ground floor. So, yeah.
Go ahead, agent.
So we have ground floor, and then on top of ground floor we have first floor and then the top floor, and we have each unit of dwelling units are arranged as a duplex, like ground floor and basement has 2 units, and first floor and the top unit has 2 units.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's confusing because she talks about first floor, second floor, and third floor, but she doesn't talk about the units in the basement. So that gives you the 4 floors.
Okay, at this point, is there any more questions for the agent? No? All right. Oh, you have another one? Okay, Mr. Khan, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. There is one reminder. I think it is just for the notification. She should take note, the agent, that it is mentioned that staff is recommending 70% as variance number 7, which is variance number 6, not 7.
Thank you for that. Do we... Does that, yeah, that does seem to... Number 6? Okay. Go ahead.
And through the chair to members, if that condition from community planning was to be imposed, just a note, we also need the meter square for the landscaping, not just the percentage, if that was being considered and imposed.
Sorry, so if I look at 6 and I see 71 meters squared, you're saying that's what's required?
Through the chair, planning staff have recommended in their report that the front yard landscaping be increased to a minimum of 70%, but they didn't include the meter square. So I'm just saying that we need the meter square in addition to the percentage. So we need both dimensions.
Very good, thank you for that.
That's number 6.
At
Okay,
the-
I'm going to try this.
Okay.
I recommend approval of this application with the exception of item number 6, that a minimum of 75% of the front yard be soft landscaping. Their proposal is 37% with soft landscaping. That's their proposal, 37% soft landscaping and 2 parking spaces. Whereas staff are saying 1 parking space and 70%. Have I got my numbers correct? More or less? Okay. All right. I'm disagreeing with staff. I want 2 parking spaces in the front yard, which would be approval of item number 6, correct? Thank you. Okay. All right.
Ms. McCollum.
Okay, I'm prepared to put forth
If I may leave a comment, if you do
Thank
move
you.
approval, which I'm leaning with as well, I think we should tie this to the site plan,
Yes.
just to ensure the backyard remains green grass and everything.
Excellent. And also, we should tie it into that the driveway have permeable pavers. Okay. Okay. So, Eric, do you want to word this? Okay. I recommend approval of the application for 897 Victoria Park Avenue, subject to the application be tied to the site plan as shown. I think we're okay with that. And that permeable pavers be used on the driveway and the 2 parking spaces in the front yard.
And through the chair, that's an amended application with the amended purpose.
Okay.
I think there's an urban forestry condition as well.
Yes. add the urban forestry condition.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. If I heard you correctly, it's an amended application to tie our approval to the site plan, include as an amendment permeable pavers to the driveway and 2 parking spaces, and the conditions of urban forestry. Okay, good. Who wants to second that motion? Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Chair. I will second the motion.
Thank you. And all those in favor? Unanimous, approved. Thank you. And now we are on item 23. '72 HEALE Avenue, Toronto. The purpose of the application is to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by extending the basement at the rear and constructing a rear 2-story addition with a rear 1st-story deck, rear 2nd-story balcony, side south 1st-story deck, side south 2nd-story balcony, an integral garage with access from Aylesworth Avenue. The existing deck and garage will be demolished, also to construct a parking space in the front yard fronting HEALE Avenue. There will be a total of 3 dwelling units on the lot. Note, this application was previously deferred by the Committee of Adjustment on March 12, 2025. There is conditions of approval from Urban Forestry and Community Planning, and there are 8 letters of support. There are no speakers that I'm aware of, and we need to speak to the applicant agent online, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee.
That's the same one.
Good afternoon. Name and address, please.
My name is Nusrat Jahan. I'm at 3400 Danforth Avenue, unit number 5, Scarborough.
Thank you. Canvassing committee, do we need a full presentation? We're happy with the items you've submitted in terms of our review of them and how detailed they are. Would you like to just give us a few thoughts on your application and then allow us to ask some questions?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chair. Yes, so about this application, after the deferral at the previous hearing, we worked with zoning examiner, community planner, and transportation staff. Community planner basically did the communication on behalf of us to the transportation staff. I would like to add to my presentation that although it looks like that the setback, the variance on the setback, it is less than required. I would like to state that it's not at all side. Only the garage part has the setback below the required required of 1.8, and the garage and rest of the addition is complying with the setback of 1.8 meter. Also, I would like to add about the variance on the pedestrian entrance to the front sidewall. You know, as we are extending at the rear side of the existing dwelling, and we wanted to maintain whatever level for the first floor it was at the existing dwelling. So we maintain the same level of 1.5 meter from the established grade for the addition of the ground floor. And we the reason we have to maintain as at 1.5 above the established grade, same as existing ground floor and existing basement level, is because we have to use the existing drainage system or septic system. We cannot go below the existing level of 1.5 meter from the established grade. That will create a problem with the drainage system. And then about the transportation input, we worked with the transportation staff. They have no concerns about our proposal for the parking space at the front yard. The owner has a disability, so she has an accessible permit. And when we presented this to the transportation staff, and we also stated that it is very difficult for the owner to go at the rear side and then access the garage. And also we had provided a logical reasoning against the safety concerns that transportation staff had previously. We presented them some of the examples at the neighborhood in immediate and in distant dwelling from our property. They had the same, they have the same, sorry about that. So they have the same proximity from the two-way stop intersection, same as our property. So then the transportation staff agreed that yes, they do not have the concern for the front yard parking space, and there's no safety concern at this point from the transportation staff. Yeah, that's all. So I'm requesting the committee to approve this proposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. It was very helpful. Let's just look to the committee here if anyone has any questions. Oh, Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. Just regarding the accessible parking space at the front of the house, I don't see any hardscape. Like, how would the individual get from that accessible parking space into the house?
You mean we have to propose an accessible walkway for the?
No, I don't know. I'm just assuming that if it's an accessible space and if it's required for accessible purposes, that it seems like there should be then an easy entry to the house from there instead of going across grass so I don't know if you can speak to that.
So yeah, I understand now. So the owner personally living and will be living at the front part of the dwelling, and that's why we are proposing the parking space at the front yard, because it will be difficult for her to travel at the rear side of the proposed garage where it is proposed right now. That's why the owner requested at the front side, at the front yard of the parking of the property. And yeah, does that answer your question?
Well, yes and no. I'm just saying because the stairs to access the house are from the west side of the house, right? But the accessible parking spot is on the east, and then so I think the only logical way if someone had physical limitations would be to walk down to the sidewalk and then up the side and then in. Like, or are you planning on adjusting the front yard landscaping to have a pathway across for direct access?
Right. Yeah. In that case, we might have to flip the access. Yeah.
Okay.
But we would do that.
Okay.
But there was no concern about this access. Yeah, we are in confirm.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
we are agreed to. Yeah, if you feel that
understand.
it's necessary. Yeah.
I understand that. My only concern is that this might trigger, if you have to adjust the site plan or the landscape plan, that might trigger some variances for you after the fact. So just to keep that in mind.
So we have, yeah. So we have shown this plan to our owner, definitely, and she was in agreement that this is the right plan for her, considering she wanted the parking space at the front. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say for now.
Okay, I understand. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Thank you, Miss. Any more questions?
Yeah, I don't understand. I understand what Mr. Reed is saying. I'm looking at this plan. The accessible parking spaces at that end. You get out of the car, go to the concrete sidewalk, go up around the concrete sidewalk, and get access into the house is through stairs. That's not accessible.
Miss, you've heard Miss McCauley's point. How is that accessible?
Yeah, so I was thinking I do not have any knowledge of any bylaws regarding that because it did went through the review from the zoning examiner and the community planning and the transportation staff as well. If we were aware of that time, we could have take into consideration. But at this point, as I said, the owner personally have no disagreement with this proposed plan.
Does the owner live in the existing house?
Yes, the front part of the property is the existing dwelling, and that's where owner will be living and is still living. Yes.
Okay, the question is, how does she get in there?
Out from the drive parking space to the stair of the porch. Yeah, I'm not sure
I think
about
maybe
the
you need
question.
to
Can you
rethink
please?
this. If you're requiring an accessible parking space, an accessible parking space I have no problem with, but let's think about from the accessible parking space into the house. Either it's up a whole series of stairs, or you're putting in a new ramp, or you're doing something else. But your site plan shows your accessible parking space, no way from the accessible parking space except around the house to the stairs and in the front door. I don't want to approve a plan with an accessible parking space that makes no sense for access into the house. If it's not an accessible parking space, no problem. You can walk upstairs.
Yeah, I believe the owner does not require the ramp. She didn't look for it. She didn't have the requirement. So owner would have to come out of the car and take the stairs to enter the front of the dwelling.
You can't have it both ways. Either the owner needs an accessible parking space, or she could use a regular parking space and walk up the stairs and get access. I'm not sure that we're approving this plan, but it doesn't make, if what they're proposing is to have an accessible parking space, they need to carry it through the rest of the plan. If we're not caring about this accessible parking space, it could be anyone's parking space, I'm okay. You can have a parking space in the front yard. So committee, what do you think? So with this being said, and maybe Deputy Treasurer, you can help me. I'm just trying to understand, is there a reason somebody would claim accessible parking space almost to game the system, if you will? That would be my term. Instead of just asking for a parking space, like what am I missing here?
Through the chair, the variance is just for front yard parking. The applicant has put a label on their site plan, perhaps as a rationale for the front yard parking, that they have called it accessible parking, but that is not what is before you. What is before you is a front yard parking space or a front yard abutting the street. A parking space will be located in the front yard abutting the street. So that is what is before you to consider.
Perfect. So what's before us is what's before us, notwithstanding the use of accessible. It's officially being asked of us for the consideration and approval or other consequences, parking space. Okay.
So we got two driveways into this property with two parking spaces, one on the front and one on the side.
Yes.
I need to rethink this.
Okay, so we'll, are we done with the applicant? And we'll go into committee? Okay, yeah, we're going to do that. Applicants, sit tight. We're going to talk amongst ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it's the end of the day. I'm a little confused here, only because, but I do appreciate the deputy treasurer really set me straight. So the word's incorrect on some of what I'm reading, but before us is parking space. The parking space seems doable. I'm not sure at this point if any of us have concerns, and if we do, let's hear it, because I'm not sure what they are. Mr. Howe, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I will, I'm not as concerned about that one parking space. I do make a note that the applicant previously proposed 2 parking spaces, and since then they have reduced it to 1. And we're also not seeing any concerns from transportation review. So on that basis, I'm not as, concerned or wary about variance 1 being an issue. So.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. No, and I get the fact that it's just a parking spot and accessibility is just a word. Accessible is a word on this plan. But the thing that frustrates me is that I don't think it's a realistic landscape plan. Like, they're not showing access from that driveway to the logical way that you'd go across the front yard. And I think that's going to maybe result in another amendment, but I think that that's okay. Like, it's community planning has recommended that we tie it to plans, and so if they pave that during construction, then they'll have to come back for another variance if that's required. So I support the plan. I think it's a good addition, like, in general, and I like that they've narrowed down the driveway on the side. I think it's a positive plan, and I don't want to refuse it at the expense of this kind of technicality.
I think, yeah, if I understand you correctly, you will be in favor of this, but it has to be tied to the plans per our approval. Okay, gotcha. Ms. McCauley?
Yep, I'm in agreement.
Okay, and Mr. Connor, are we good to go? Okay, so we've talked it through. Who wants to put forth the motion? Thank you very much, Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Chair. So for this application I believe on March 25th, the applicant submitted a revised proposal. The revised proposal eliminated variances related to number of platforms, reduced the number of lawful parking spaces, and reduced the proposed building length to 19 meters. Currently, there are only 5 variances before us with 8 letters of support. Overall, they appear straightforward and minor and meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Therefore, I would move approval of this application subject to community planning condition tying to the site plan and urban forestry condition number 1.
Through the chair, just a slight clarification for consideration. The community planning staff recommendation and report speaks to the 2-story detached dwelling will be constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan. Perhaps if your concern is landscaping, you may want to amend that language to state the development will be constructed, including front yard landscaping, rather than just the dwelling.
Great point. So amend development plan to include landscaping.
I will include that in my motion.
Perfect. Mr. Reed, I'll look to you. Do you want to second that motion?
Yes, I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Mr. Howe with the stated amended application as stated by him for tying it to the site plan and conditions of approval per urban forestry and community planning. And we have it seconded by Mr. Reed. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. It's carried. Thank you, Miss. Okay, unless I'm missing something, that's the end of our agenda, and I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Khan.
Move adjourn the meeting.
And Ms. McCauley, will you second the motion?
Definitely.
All those in favor? And it's approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned. Please turn off your mics and videos. And thank you to staff.